Hi, welcome back to the Triggered Newscast. Today's April 15, 2019. This is just a continuation of the last live casting. Unfortunately, we lost the stream while it was going live, but I'm going to go ahead and pop it up again for you guys right now. I'm going to start off with a clip of the spire collapsing, the roof collapsing, and the inferno blazing, and then we're going to switch over to one of the live views for you guys. And I'd love for you guys to jump in. Let me know what you think about the fire, about the cause of the fire, and I'll go ahead and get into a little bit more and keep showing you guys that live action. So here we go. As you can see, several hours ago, the spiral crumbling. That fire again starting at the epicenter of the reconstruction. While the spire looks solid, it is in fact actually made of wood and has been crumbling for years. Now that they've been doing the reconstruction, it's unknown exactly what has caused the fire. All right, we're getting that live footage back up and going. Sorry about that. The stream died for a moment. As you can see, the faint glow from inside Notre Dame Cathedral. The outside lower portion of the structure is mostly intact because those portions were made from pure stone. However, when you go higher up the lattice to your left on that scaffolding, which was surrounding the spire earlier today, that crumbled. Again, I'll go ahead and put up a clip showing that spire crumbling as well as the inferno raging, where you can clearly see the true damage of the building, which is much harder to see now that it's nighttime in France. Again, Macron calling for a state of emergency today over the fire at Notre Dame. The cause of the fire is still unknown, although people are speculating as to whether it has to do with the yellow vests that are currently rioting, or if it's the migrants that have been influxing into France. The official narrative right now is that it was caused during the reconstruction. Again, as you can see from the clip I posted earlier today, the spire not only collapsing, but you can see that that whole area is completely covered by the scaffolding. The interior of that spire was wood that has been crumbling, and they were doing drastic measures to rebuild. At reconstruction, not only did they not get the entire amount of money that they needed, but they've had to push ahead of schedule because of dangerous conditions for tourists. It is France's #1 tourist attraction, above the Louvre, the Arc de Triomphe, and even the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to go ahead and flip over, show you guys the spire falling, and then we'll flip back over to this live cast. Please let me know what you guys think about the cause of the fire, why it started, but let's go ahead and let you see that spire collapsing. Priceless works of art, statues, gargoyles, stained glass windows gone. Many more are outraged that they did not do an aerial attack on the fire. As you can see, even now in that live footage that I was showing, the cathedral is basically 100% lost. Just the stone edifice at the front and some of the pillars on the side still remain. Life came to a standstill today in Paris, as many flooded out into all of the open and vast streets and marketplaces to watch their beloved monument burn to the ground. Sorry, Debbie, the live stream had canceled out when I was trying to show you guys the clip. Thanks for coming on back. I agree with you, Debbie. I mean, very much this would be like losing a sacred landmark, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. Let's go ahead and pop back over to the live feed. As you can see here, the fire's nearly out. Being dark in Paris, it looks like much more of the cathedral has survived than actually has. It remains but a skeleton and foundation of the glorious building it once was. Absolutely. I mean, we have been seeing churches burnt across the world, South Africa, Louisiana, across the Bible Belt. But so far, no officials in France coming out and saying that this has any relation to the Yellow Vest or the migrant crisis. Macron, who's extremely unpopular in France right now, came out and declared a state of national emergency over the Notre Dame cathedral burning. Many more are outraged that he did not order aerial attacks on the fire. And Donald Trump President of the United States, tweeted out how grieved it saw him to see that fire. Obviously, just the last embers are being put out now. Cause of the fire still unknown. Several hours ago, the spire completely fell, collapsing most of the roof. Priceless artifacts, stained glass windows, gargoyles, statues, precious works of art and history gone. Even what has survived in the burnt skeleton of the Notre Dame cathedral will be forever scarred. Enlightened truth seeker, that is very possible. I've made several videos about the Julian Assange arrest. I haven't specifically covered the yellow vest on my channel, but I have talked with many other YouTube content creators about the yellow vest movement. I really find it highly unlikely that the yellow vests would cause damage to their own country. While I've seen many of the yellow vest protests under the Arc de Triomphe by the Eiffel Tower, uh, I've never seen them do anything to purposely vandalize any of their monuments. While it's very possible it could be migrants or a purposeful incident like enlightened truth seeker says, so far the official narrative is that it was completely an accident. That's how the officials are treating it. That's how Macron is announcing it. Only once details in the investigation are completely through will we know exactly what has happened. But I think that a lot of people feel that it's a very suspicious fire, that it's very suspicious that they didn't allow the airplanes, the helicopters to hit the fire. I think that that's going to cause more tension with the yellow vest movement, that more of France's people are going to feel like the government is not representing their best interests. Here in just a few moments, I'll switch back over and show you guys the spire falling and crumbling. As you can see here, all that remains of the great cathedral is the stone edifice that makes up the front and the siding. Yeah, I think that's true too, Debbie, that not only was this area shut off to tourists for the time being, uh, many of the things that might have been in the spire that were removable may have been safe kept, but realistically, on such an old building, taking things off is the last thing you want to do. In most cases, most of the city, most of the requirements will be that you do not. And there's a long litany of paperwork to go through any refurbishment, at least in America, of any historical monuments. Now, I know that this specific monument, the church had fundraised for and did not quite get enough money to completely do the restoration that they wanted to do. However, they carried on with the project out of necessity. The interior of the spire, which was made of wood and then plastered to give an appearance of stone, was crumbling for years. This last-ditch effort to get that spire not to crumble was its downfall. Soon we will find out exactly what created that fire, but until that is known, all we can do is speculate. So here again, I want to show you guys the spire falling down earlier today. As well, in this clip, you can see the roof of the cathedral completely crumble. Again, that spire surrounded by scaffolding, that was the area of interest for the renovation project. As you can see in the live cast that we just switched from, all that is left of the Notre Dame Cathedral is that front-facing edifice and the side-facing stone parts of the building. Everything here in this picture is gone. The statuary, the gargoyles had been falling off for months, and right now they're calling for US to help out the restoration project. I'm going to go ahead and switch it back over to that live feed. As you can see now in the live feed, just that front stone edifice is there. The two front towers were undamaged by the spire falling, but much of that roof right behind that stone edifice is now gone. While much of the building may be able to be refurbished, may be able to be reconstructed, obviously so many great works of art and history are gone forever. I think it's definitely a possibility, enlightened truth seeker Debbie Pearson. I don't think it would be beyond any of the globalists' interest to try and take away attention from matters of high interest. Many speculate whether other false flags have been perpetrated to distract people from certain events going on in the mainstream media. It is very possible that this is one of those. I wish I had any information to break to you in relation to that. However, I've seen nothing, at least being reported on, that officially hints that the fire was caused purposefully. It doesn't mean, however, that it wasn't. I'm just going off of the facts I can provide for you guys. I'm not quite sure why the Pope didn't want to help fund the repairs, Debbie. It's really odd that for such, out of most established religions on the planet, I think most people understand the Catholic Church, the Vatican, to be among the wealthiest. I'm really not quite sure why they couldn't get the money necessary to do that refurbishing. Again, if you're just joining, you can see in this live view the stone edifice that's surviving. That to the left that's being hosed off is the scaffolding that was completely encapsulating the spire. That spire collapsed several hours ago, and shortly thereafter, the entire roof of the Notre Dame Cathedral had fallen. Macron stated or declared a state of emergency in France today, and many are still wondering if it's the yellow vest, the migrant influx, or just the fire being started from the reconstruction efforts. I'm going to show you guys one last time the spire falling and the Furno enraging, and then I'm going to switch back over, allow the live feed to go, and maybe answer some questions before I send you guys off tonight. So I'm going to, again, flip it back over and show you guys that spire falling. Again, after this clip plays out, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the live feed and answer some questions before I sign out. As you can see here in this section, that whole spire crumbled, the statuary around it completely gone. Luckily, the spire falling missed the front-facing edifice, and some of those statuary might be able to be salvaged. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over to the live feed. I think before I do that, I'm going to show that spire just falling one more time. Get you guys one last view of this. Again, as you can see here, that spire, which looks to be stone from the outside, is wood on the inside and has been crumbling for years. It was the center of the reconstruction effort, and everything visible in this photograph is now collapsed into the interior of the Notre Dame Cathedral. Okay, we're going to cut back over to the live feed. All right, we're getting that live feed back up. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where the origin of putting gargoyles on the church started, Debbie. I do think it a kind of an odd feature. Again, thank you all for stopping in. I'll go ahead and leave this live cast going so you guys can see any of the camera changes that they make. I will adjust the feed to another one if I can find a better angle. I'd love to hear what you guys think, but other than that, I'm going to go radio silent, and we're going to be live streaming again at 8, or actually 7 p.m. tonight, Pacific Standard Time. I wanted to get this out there for you guys, give you access to see that fire blazing. Absolutely, Debbie. Thank you guys for stopping in. And we'll see you again here in a couple hours for the Triggered Newscast live stream. And please, please pray for Paris. Thank you guys for stopping in. As you can see here, there's a little bit of a clearer shot. Scaffolding that was surrounding that spire. Obviously, the cause of the fire is still unknown. As you can see here, all that's left is the front-facing edifice and some of the side-facing concrete edifices of the Notre Dame Cathedral. I mean, wow, just wow. Saddest part for me is the history. How many hours stonemasons toiled to make that building that magnificent. Stood for over 800 years. Despite standing through 800 years, many fires throughout Paris, earthquakes, wars, still stood until today. The restoration effort may be to blame for the fire itself. Still unknown is exactly what did start the fire. Many are quick to blame the yellow vest and the migrants that have been influxing into France. Macron, who has been notoriously weak on migration, himself being a globalist, has angered many in his country. I believe that today, too, is going to add to their frustration. Many still question why this fire was not attacked from the air when it had just got going. Again, thank you guys for stopping in. I'm going to show you the spire crumbling, and then I'm going to leave the live cast for you all to watch. I'll show you that spire falling. I'm not sure, Rosemary. Still unclear whether the fire was caused on accident or if it was arson. As you can see, everything here in this picture, which looks to be made of stone, was actually made of wood. That wood had been crumbling, thus the reconstruction efforts. Many are speculating whether the reconstruction effort was what caused the collapse. Everything here pictured is gone. I'll show you that spire collapsing one last time, and we're going to flip back over to the live feed. There, I'm going to leave it on the live feed for you all. Feel free to ask some questions. I'll provide my opinion. Other than that, I think I'm just going to leave the live footage for you guys to check out for yourself. All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave this live cast up for you guys until something more develops, and I'll jump back on the mic. I appreciate you guys stopping in. I'm just going to keep swapping between live feeds that are showing the most current, most up-to-date thing. And as more information breaks, I will let you guys know. Obviously, we saw the end of the live stream. Let me swap on another live stream for us all. Obviously, we saw the end of the live stream. Let me swap on another live stream for us all. Obviously, we saw the end of the live stream. Let me swap on. Show you guys the fire from earlier today while I find another live cast. Okay, I think we got us back up and live on another stream. All right. This is the last live feed I see still up. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat for you all, and you can go ahead and go there yourself. If anything more pops up, I might address it at 7 p.m. on the live cast. If not, thanks for dropping in. I'm going to leave it silent here, switch you over the link, and I'm going to go ahead and sign this one off in a couple minutes.